Welcome back to Nightmare Crypt. I'm recording this because I don't know how much longer I'll be able to explain it clearly. I keep losing pieces of it when I sleep, and when I don't sleep, things get worse faster. If you're hearing this and you think you've seen the same job posting I did, close the tab. Don't reply. Don't show up. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to stop you from ending up where I am now. I was hired to sit in a room and do nothing. That's not a hook. That's the exact wording. I need to say this up front, so you understand the weight of what follows. I did something in that room that I can't undo, even though no one ever told me to do anything at all. Whatever is happening now started there. I feel it when I wake up, like pressure behind my eyes, like something is waiting for me to notice it again. I'm not safe, and I don't think anyone who takes that job ever is. I found the listing on a generic gig board, buried between warehouse shifts and overnight security work. The title was plain: Overnight Room Monitor Short-Term Contract. No company name, no logo, just a Gmail contact and a flat rate that was high enough to stop me from scrolling past. The description was strange, in a way that felt deliberate. Sit in a furnished room for 8 hours. Do not use your phone. Do not sleep. Do not leave early. Do nothing unless instructed. $1,200 per night. No mention of cameras. No mention of what was being monitored. No mention of danger, just rules. I told myself it was some kind of psychology experiment, or rich people nonsense, or a way to scare interns. I'd done night shifts before. I was broke. My rent was late. I replied. They answered within 10 minutes. No greeting, no name, just an address, a start date, and a PDF with the same rules formatted like a contract. There was a signature line at the bottom, already filled in with my name, spelled correctly. That should have been the moment I stopped. Instead, I printed it and signed it like it was normal. The house was on the edge of a quiet suburban development, the kind where every lawn looks professionally maintained and nothing ever happens. No streetlights on that block, just porch lights and darkness between them. I parked across the street because the driveway was already full, though I never saw another car arrive or leave the entire time I worked there. A man answered the door. Late 40s, clean clothes, no smile. He didn't introduce himself. He just stepped aside and let me in, like he'd already decided I wasn't staying long enough to matter. The house smelled unused, like dust and faint cleaner, not like people. He stopped at a closed door near the back. "This is the room," he said. That was it. He opened the door and turned on the light. It was smaller than I expected, maybe 12 by 12. Beige walls, carpet, one chair in the center, metal legs, no armrests, no table, no clock, no windows, just a door behind me and a smoke detector in the corner. Nothing else. No phone, he said. No sleeping. Don't touch the walls. Don't knock. Don't speak unless you're spoken to. I laughed a little, because it felt like a test. He didn't react. "If something happens," I asked. "Sit," he said. He closed the door and locked it from the outside. I heard the deadbolt slide into place, then footsteps moving away. That was night one. At first it was boring in a way that almost hurt. The chair was uncomfortable. The light buzzed faintly. I counted my breaths. I recited song lyrics in my head. I stared at the wall until the texture started to look wrong. Every hour or so, I heard footsteps in the hallway. Sometimes they stopped outside the door. Sometimes they didn't. No one spoke to me. No one checked on me. I kept waiting for the real part of the job to start. Around what I guessed was 3 in the morning, I noticed the room felt smaller. Not in a dramatic way, just closer. Like the walls had leaned in a few inches while I wasn't looking. I stood up without thinking, then froze, remembering the rules. I sat back down, heart racing, telling myself it was fatigue. By the end of the shift, the door unlocked. The same man opened it. He didn't look at me. "You did fine," he said. "Come back tomorrow." Perfectly counted. I went home and slept for 12 hours straight, dreaming about sitting in that chair, dreaming about not being allowed to move, even when my legs were gone. Night 2 felt different immediately. The chair was closer to the door. I know how that sounds. I know chairs don't move themselves, but it was closer. I could see the scuff marks in the carpet where it had been the night before, faint lines pressed into the fibers, and the chair was at least a foot forward of them. I considered knocking. I didn't. I sat. The light buzzed louder this time, or maybe I was listening harder. I felt watched, not from a specific direction, just generally, like the room itself was aware of me occupying it. I kept my eyes on the wall because every time I looked at the door, my chest tightened. At some point, I heard breathing. Not mine. Slow, controlled, just on the other side of the wall to my left. I held my breath, straining to hear it better, and that's when it stopped. Like it had been waiting for me to notice. When the door opened in the morning, the man looked tired. "Don't adjust the chair," he said, without explaining why. On the third night, the smoke detector was gone. Just a dark circle where it had been, like it had been pulled out carefully. No wires, no damage. I didn't hear any footsteps that night, no breathing. Just silence so complete, it felt heavy, like pressure on my ears. I tried to think of anything else. I tried to remember why I needed the money so badly. Somewhere around the middle of the shift, I realized I couldn't remember leaving the house earlier that evening. I remembered driving there, but not walking in, not the door, not the hallway, just sitting down. I told myself I was overtired. By night 5, I stopped going home. I don't know when I made that decision. I just know I started sleeping in my car between shifts, because every time I closed my eyes in my apartment, I saw the room, perfectly lit, waiting for me. It felt easier to stay close to it, like distance was making it angry. That was when the instructions changed. A piece of paper was tapped to the inside of the door when I arrived, handwritten. "If you hear yourself, do not respond." I stared at it for a long time before sitting down. Nothing happened for hours. Then I heard my voice say my name. It came from directly behind me. I didn't turn around. I didn't respond. I felt the chair shake, just slightly, like someone had nudged it with their foot. I don't know how long I sat there after that. I know at some point I started crying without making noise, tears running down my face while I stared straight ahead, terrified that if I acknowledged it in any way, something would change permanently. This is the part where people usually stop listening. This is where they assume exaggeration, or stress, or a prank. I need you to understand something before you go any further. I am not special. I am not sensitive. I am not imaginative. I took this job because it paid well and required nothing from me. And whatever is happening now followed me out of that room. If you're still here and you want stories like this told the way they actually feel when you're inside them, you already know what to do. Subscribe to Nightmare Crypt. Just don't make the mistake of thinking this is only entertainment. On the 7th night, the chair was facing the wall when I walked in. I know I hadn't. The wall in front of it had a mark at eye level, a dark smear, like someone had pressed their forehead there for a long time. I sat anyway. That was the first night I heard scratching. Slow, deliberate, from inside the walls. Not rats, not pipes, fingers. I felt them mapping the room, learning the dimensions, stopping every time I shifted my weight, starting again when I went still. At some point I realized the scratching was matching my breathing. In, scratch, out, scratch. I tried to stop breathing. Something knocked once from inside the wall, hard. I screamed then. The sound tore out of me, loud and broken, filling the room. The scratching stopped. The light went out. In the dark, I felt the chair slide backward, inch by inch, pulled by something I couldn't see. And then I felt hands on my shoulders. That's where I need to stop for now. My hands are shaking too badly, and I can hear movement in my apartment that shouldn't be there. If I don't keep talking, I'm afraid I'll start listening instead. I'll continue. I have to. The hands didn't grab me. That's important. If they had, I might have fought, or fainted, or convinced myself it was a stress reaction. Instead, they just rested there, heavy and calm, like they'd always belonged. I couldn't see anything. The light was completely gone, not even the dim glow you get from emergency fixtures. I tried to twist in the chair, but the pressure on my shoulders increased just enough to stop me. I remember thinking, very clearly, this is the first time it's touching me. My breathing went shallow. The room smelled different, not rotten, not chemical, just warm, like breath that had nowhere to go. Then I heard it again, my voice, not behind me this time, right next to my ear. It was quieter than before, almost gentle, like someone checking if I was awake. "Don't move," it said, using my exact cadence, my exact pauses. "You'll ruin it." I froze so hard my muscles started to cramp. I wanted to scream again, but I was terrified of what would answer back if I did. The hands slid off my shoulders, and I felt them withdraw, not backward, but downward, like they were sinking through the chair, through the floor. The light came back on without warning. I was alone. The chair was exactly where it had been the first night, centered in the room. The smear on the wall was gone. The smoke detector was back, intact, its little red LED blinking patiently. I sat there until the door unlocked. The man didn't come in this time. He stood in the hallway, holding the door open, watching me with an expression that wasn't fear, but wasn't neutral either. It looked like pity, badly hidden. "You spoke," he said. I screamed, I said. My throat felt raw, like I'd been yelling for hours. He nodded. "That's still speaking." I didn't answer it. "That's why you're still here." I didn't understand what he meant, and I was too exhausted to ask. I stood up, and that's when my legs buckled. He caught me by the arm, surprisingly strong, and guided me out. The hallway looked longer than before. The walls felt farther apart. I couldn't tell if that was relief or something else. "You're done for tonight," he said. "Go sleep." "I'm not coming back," I said automatically. He stopped walking and looked at me fully for the first time. His eyes were bloodshot, the skin around them sunken. "You already are," he said. I slept in my car again, but not because I chose to. I don't remember leaving the house. I don't remember locking my apartment or grabbing my keys. I woke up in the driver's seat just before sunset, stiff and disoriented, with a printed copy of the contract on the passenger seat. There was a new clause highlighted in yellow. "Do not describe the room to anyone who has not been inside it." I laughed when I read that, a short, hysterical sound that startled me. I hadn't even tried. The idea of explaining it felt impossible, like trying to describe a color that doesn't exist. That night, the chair was warm when I sat down. Not freshly warm, like someone had just stood up, but deeply warm, like it had been holding heat for a long time. I almost pulled my hand back, but I remembered the rule about not touching anything, and forced myself to sit. The wall in front of me had changed. It wasn't dramatic. No symbols, no writing. Just a subtle unevenness, like the drywall had been patched and repainted too many times in one specific area. The texture there was smoother, worn down, at eye level. I didn't look anywhere else. The first sound came an hour in, a chair scraping against carpet. Not in the hallway, not behind the wall, in the room. I felt the vibration through the floor before I heard it clearly. Slow, careful, circling me. I kept my eyes locked forward, heart pounding so hard it made my vision pulse. I could feel air moving when it passed behind me, just enough to lift the hair on the back of my neck. Then it sat down. The weight shifted the carpet. The sound was unmistakable. There was another chair in the room now. I couldn't stop shaking. Every instinct I had was screaming at me to turn, to acknowledge it, to confirm it was real. The paper on the door echoed in my mind. "If you hear yourself, do not respond." I realized then that it wasn't breathing anymore. It didn't need to. "Can you feel it yet?" my voice asked, directly behind me. I clenched my jaw until it hurt. "It took me weeks," it continued conversationally. "You're doing better than I did." Something brushed my elbow. Not skin, fabric, my own jacket. I almost lost control then. The room tilted. My hands went numb. I felt like I was about to pass out, and the panic of that, of losing awareness in that room, was worse than anything else so far. "Stay," it said softly. "They hate when you leave early." I didn't, I whispered before I could stop myself. The word hung in the air between us. The room went silent. I knew immediately what I'd done. The rule wasn't just about speaking to it. It was about speaking at all, about breaking the stillness. The light flickered, once, twice, then the wall in front of me bulged inward just slightly, like something pressing against it from the other side. I watched the paint crack in a thin line, splitting outward from the center. I screamed again. This time, the scream didn't sound like it was coming from me. The wall gave way in a quiet tearing sound, and something pushed through, not bursting, not forcing, just easing itself into the room, like it had been waiting for permission. I don't have good words for what I saw, not because it was unimaginable, but because it was too familiar. It looked like me in the way a reflection looks like you, right before it does something wrong. Same height, same build, same face, slack and unfinished, like it hadn't decided what expression to wear yet. It didn't crawl out. It stood up, brushing drywall dust from its shoulders, and looked at me like I was late. "You're not supposed to watch," it said in my voice, clearer than ever. I couldn't move. This was the paralyzing dread moment people talk about, the kind where your body simply refuses to cooperate. My mind was screaming orders and none of them went anywhere. It stepped closer. The room felt smaller again, shrinking around us, accommodating something that had never fit before. "I sat here for a long time," it said. "Longer than you. I learned the rules the hard way." It leaned down until its face was inches from mine. I could see pores, stubble, a small scar on the chin I'd gotten years ago and forgotten about. "When they let you leave," it said, "you don't really go." The door flew open. Light flooded the room. The man was there, older than he'd been the night before, his hair thinner, his face lined deeper. "Time," he said sharply. The thing in front of me stepped back instantly, retreating toward the wall. The drywall softened around it, opening like wet paper, swallowing it whole. The wall smoothed itself over again, leaving nothing behind. I collapsed out of the chair, sobbing, my body finally unlocking now that it was too late to matter. The man didn't help me up this time. He watched me crawl to the doorway. "You broke protocol," he said. "You didn't tell me what this was," I said, barely able to form words. He sighed, rubbing his face. "We don't hire people who ask." "Am I done?" I asked. He hesitated. "That depends," he said carefully, "on whether it followed you. I'm going to stop here again, because something just knocked on my bedroom wall in the same slow, deliberate pattern I heard that night. I haven't taken this job in days. I haven't been back to that house. But I keep finding new rules written in my handwriting, taped to places I don't remember going. If I don't keep talking, if I don't keep this moving forward, I'm afraid I'll sit down somewhere and not get back up." I swear, I didn't go back to the house after that night. Not because I made some brave decision, but because I physically couldn't bring myself to drive there. Every time I tried, my hands started shaking so badly I had to pull over. Once, I sat at a red light 2 blocks away and realized I had no idea how long I'd been stopped there. Cars were honking, someone yelled, the light was green. I was just sitting, staring forward, waiting for what I didn't know. I went home instead. My apartment felt wrong the moment I stepped inside. Nothing was moved, nothing was broken, but the air felt staged, like a set dressed to look like my life, rather than the real thing. The hum of the refrigerator was too loud. The silence between sounds felt deliberate. I stood in the middle of the living room for a long time, afraid to sit. That was when I noticed the chair. Not my couch, not the desk chair, a different one. Metal legs, no armrests, centered perfectly between the coffee table and the TV, facing the blank wall where I'd always meant to hang something. I don't remember bringing it home. I didn't touch it. I backed into the bedroom, locked the door, and slept on the floor with my back against it. The lights on, my phone clutched in my hand like it could save me. Every time I started to drift off, I heard that scraping sound again, faint but unmistakable, coming from the other side of the wall. In the morning, the chair was gone. The carpet underneath it was flattened, fibers pressed down in a familiar oval. I quit my job that week. I told my boss I was sick. He didn't argue. I think he was relieved. I stopped answering texts from friends. I stopped checking email. Every notification felt like it might be another instruction. The rules didn't stop coming. I found one taped inside my bathroom mirror. Do not watch yourself for too long. Another was folded into my wallet, creased like it had been there for years. If you feel the urge to sit, count to 60. worst part wasn't fear, it was confusion, the constant sense that I was behind, that everyone else knew what stage I was in, and I was just catching up too slowly. I started losing time again. I'd blink and find myself standing in a different room. I'd wake up sitting upright in bed, hands on my knees, staring at the wall, always the wall. I tried to leave the city. I packed a bag and got on the highway, heading west with no plan beyond distance. For the first hour, I felt something like relief. The farther I got, the lighter my chest felt, like a pressure easing. Then I passed an exit ramp and saw the house. Same quiet street, same dark windows, same porch light. I slammed on the brakes, heart pounding, nearly causing a pileup. When I looked again, it was gone. Just trees and asphalt and a sign for a gas station. I pulled over and threw up. That was the moment I realized I'd misunderstood something fundamental. The room wasn't a place. It was a process, a role, something that could be relocated as long as the rules were observed. And I had already learned too many of them. The panic attack hit me that night hard and fast. Full body, no warning terror. My vision narrowed, my hands curled into claws. I slid down the wall in my kitchen, gasping for air that didn't feel like it was doing anything. I remember saying out loud, "I don't want to do this anymore," over and over, like it was a phrase that might unlock something. That's when I heard the knock. One slow knock, on the inside of the wall. I froze. Another knock. Same spot, same measured force. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I just listened as something on the other side shifted, testing, learning the boundaries of the space I was in now. "You're running late," my voice said, muffled by drywall. "I'm not going back," I said, and I hated how small I sounded. There was a pause. "Neither did I," it said. The wall bowed inward slightly, not breaking, just acknowledging pressure. I felt it then. The loss of control realization people talk about after disasters. The calm certainty that the outcome is already decided, and you're just waiting to see how bad it gets. "I sat where you're sitting," it said. "I followed the rules until they didn't matter anymore." The knocking stopped. "Do you know why they pay so much?" it asked. I shook my head, even though it couldn't see me. "Because the job doesn't end when you leave," it said. "It ends when you replace someone." The wall went still. The air felt normal again, almost painfully so. I stayed there on the floor until sunrise, afraid that if I stood up, I'd find the chair behind me. That was 3 days ago. Since then, I've noticed things changing. Subtle things. The way people hesitate when they talk to me, like they're waiting for me to stop responding. The way empty rooms feel expectant when I enter them. The way my reflection sometimes lags just a fraction of a second behind my movements. Last night I found a new rule written on my bedroom wall in thick black marker. If someone sits, you may stand. I don't remember writing it. I don't remember standing there long enough to write anything. I can hear movement in the other room now. That same careful scraping sound, circling, patient. I don't know if it's inside the walls anymore. I don't know if it ever was. If you're listening to this and you think you can handle it, that you'd do better, that you'd follow the rules more carefully than I did, understand this. The room doesn't need you to fail. It just needs you to stay long enough to learn how to sit. And once you do, someone else gets to stand up. I don't know how much longer I can keep moving. My legs feel heavy. The urge to sit comes in waves now. If I stop talking, if this goes quiet, I'm afraid of what I'll do next. If you see the listing, if the rules sound easy, if the money feels like a solution, this is your warning. Doing nothing is how it starts, sitting is how it ends, and the room is very patient.